Who do you think would win in a fight between Juggernaut and Lobo? Juggernaut is the half-brother of Charles Xavier. He became Juggernaut after finding the Crimson Gem of Cyttorak, which granted him limitless magical power. Once he gets moving, Juggernaut is virtually unstoppable. His body invulnerable to most weapons and magic. His superhuman physical strength combined with his incredible regenerative abilities make him one of the most formidable opponents the X-Men have ever faced. Lobo is a bounty hunter from the DC Comics planet Czarnia. He is known for his brutality, madness, and near-immortality. Lobo possesses strength far beyond the average Kryptonian, being able to fight Superman on par in many battles. He also has speed, a rapid healing factor, and an unquenchable fighting spirit. Not only is Lobo physically strong, he is also feared for his cunning, ruthlessness, and habit of never giving up on his goals. Before we dive into the analysis, please click the subscribe button. Please remember to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thank you very much. As a child, Kane was often abused by his alcoholic father. In contrast, his half-brother, Charles Xavier, was treated much better and also superior to him. All of this made Kane hate Xavier for many years. Kane accidentally found the Temple of Cyttorak and obtained the Crimson Gem. The mystical power of the gem transformed Marco into the Juggernaut Earth's incarnation of Cyttorak. Marco used his power to sow chaos and cause destruction, often alongside his partner Black Tom Cassidy. He was a monstrous force, standing nearly 12 feet tall and weighing over 2.5 tons, overwhelming anyone who faced him. Once he started moving, nothing could stop him. It was said that each step of Kane carried the power of millions of bullet trains rushing at the same time, enough to crush any structure in his path. When he slams his heel into the ground, the shockwave from the impact can shake a large area, and a clap of his hands is enough to turn a proud opponent like Primus into dust. His strength lies not only in his hands but also in his feet, allowing him to leap enormous distances, landing like a meteor destroying the battlefield. Kane knows no concept of fatigue and can engage in battle for hours, even days, while still maintaining his brutal strength. After losing the Gem of Cyttorak and all of his original power, Kane thought he would return to being a normal human. However, fate opened up another path when he found the Crimson Bands of Cyttorak on Earth. By connecting with this ancient energy, Kane was restored to power through the remaining fragments of the gem. Kane Marco not only gives him tremendous power, but also makes Kane's abilities more fierce and unpredictable. Kane Marco. He can stand firm even when a giant building collapses on him without suffering any serious damage. He is strong enough to withstand fierce attacks from Hulk or Quicksand and still continue to advance like a living mountain. Once he starts moving in one direction, almost nothing can stop him. Even when facing opponents with kinetic manipulation abilities like D-Cell, his progress can only be slowed down a bit but never stopped completely. Even Texas Twister, despite using all its strength to create destructive tornadoes, only makes Kane's steps heavier but cannot stop him from continuing to charge forward. The biggest mystery of Juggernaut is the familiar armor he wears. Initially, many believed that this armor was summoned from another dimension, but the truth was revealed by Kane himself. The entire massive armor was originally hidden within his body, just waiting to be summoned to encase his form, increasing its durability and destructiveness. The power of the Cyttorak gem not only granted Kane invincibility, but also brought terrifying regenerative abilities. He once suffered a near-fatal attack from Nimrod, but his giant body quickly recovered, leaving no trace of the injury. The superhuman ability to heal itself has made Juggernaut a force of destruction, a true nightmare for anyone who dares stand in his way. The Crimson Gem of Cyttorak bonds with the user's soul and transforms him into the avatar of Cyttorak, an exemplar, by granting him this new body. He is considered a Thor-level threat. According to Prosh, his comparative mutant strength is 8.9. Juggernaut's strength comes from Cyttorak, which is related to his function as the embodiment of destruction. Using this power, he was able to take down the Thing in 3 blows, Colossus, and even the merged Hulk, through repeated surprise ambush tactics. And Thor was in a weakened state. Juggernaut has proven strong enough to take on the extremely powerful Prime in a fight, knock out several mutants with a lightning strike, and even knock the Stranger down with a single punch after he grew to about 50 feet.
He was able to hold off a moderately enraged World War Hulk, as well as the mighty Thor, before Kane's bond with Cyttorak was broken. Furthermore, Kane was able to hold off an angry giant, wound the mighty King Hyperion while in a weakened state, wound Scar and gained the advantage before being outmaneuvered, etc. However, in his weakened state, after being severely weakened by Cyttorak, he was defeated by foes such as Iron Man. Furthermore, when greatly enhanced by absorbing energy from a magical universe, Kane broke through interdimensional barriers and was able to split space-time where a rift was spreading across the universe he was in. Kane could only be harmed by high-level mental attacks, mystical attacks, or weapons with mystical properties. In fact, when Juggernaut's force field was disabled by Mjolnir, he was still durable enough to fight Thor. Even when weakened, he was able to withstand an attack from the cosmic entity Stranger, and indeed, Wolverine's adamantium claws were completely invulnerable to Juggernaut. Juggernaut is completely self-sustaining, not needing to breathe, eat, or drink. He does not tire, and therefore cannot sleep. However, his self-generated mystical energy provides him with sustenance, including sleep, nutrition, water, and oxygen. He lives solely on his mystical energy. He was even able to speak and fight after being reduced to a skeleton. The Juggernaut is also immune to all toxins, poisons, and diseases. He was wounded by Shatterstar's sword and healed instantly. The Demon Despair once skinned the Juggernaut into a skeleton after draining his life force, and even then, the Juggernaut was able to regenerate all the damage he had inflicted after regaining his full strength. During the battle with the War Hulk, the mutant Apocalypse enhanced the Hulk's strength by implanting celestial technology into him, allowing the Hulk to increase his strength at will, thus stopping the Juggernaut. Spider-Man defeated Juggernaut by blinding him and forcing him into a building foundation with freshly poured cement. As a result, Juggernaut sank to the bottom and was unable to move for months.
I really hope you subscribe to the channel, it helps us a lot, and you are the best, thank you very much.
Lobo is a member of the Volorpian race. Volorpians are extremely difficult to kill because they possess the ability to regenerate themselves after any injury. Lobo was born on the peaceful planet Czarnia. From the moment he was born, Lobo believed that he was the only living being in the entire universe and wanted to prove it with every second he lived. He created a plague that wiped out all the Czarnians on the planet, literally making him the last living being of his kind. Lobo was the only survivor. Lobo has long been known for his brute strength and near-limitless durability. He possesses superior physical strength, capable of lifting and throwing massive objects of tremendous mass, and easily confronting the most powerful superheroes. Lobo has shown a fearsome ability to withstand blows, being able to absorb fierce attacks that would knock others down instantly. His body, as if trained to adapt to any situation, is both durable and flexible. Lobo's most terrifying feature is his extraordinary ability to heal. Fatal wounds that would have killed anyone else are only temporary obstacles to him. Lobo recovers quickly, sometimes in the blink of an eye, and immediately returns to the battle with his strength not diminished. Lobo's strength is often compared to that of entities like Superman, enough to show his formidable position in the universe. He also possesses agility, sharp reflexes, and brutal combat experience, making him a foe that anyone must fear. Lobo was once declared immortal. After his death and descent into hell, he proved too powerful for the demons, and when he was brought to heaven, he caused so much destruction that he was permanently banished from the afterlife. If Lobo is injured, his accelerated healing factor allows him to regenerate damaged or destroyed tissue with superhuman speed and efficiency, and with little to no pain. Lobo is also functionally immortal. He is immune to the effects of aging and disease, and is barred from entering heaven or hell. Therefore, although he can sustain enough damage to render him inactive for considerable periods of time, he appears to heal from any injury given enough time. For example, Lobo can regenerate from his own blood, seemingly regenerating his own cells. Lobo lives and fights by a simple but unwavering principle. Once he has signed a contract, he will fulfill it at all costs, even if it means his own life. To Lobo, contracts are honor, the only law he abides by in a universe of chaos. He possesses a super sensitive sense of smell, able to track traces across multiple solar systems, even tracking a single target across the galaxy. This ability makes it almost impossible for anyone on Lobo's list to escape his brutal grasp. Lobo has also set foot in the 5th dimension, a mystical land that few can reach, and massacred those considered evil there. Even the elves of this dimension, like Quispew, have to admit that he has the ability to alter reality on many levels. In the fierce battle of Dark Knights, death metal, Lobo, and his ability to regenerate immortality became an irreplaceable source of support, contributing to the fierce confrontation between Wonder Woman and Darkest Night. His undying power has allowed him to not only survive, but also defeat versions of Superman once considered invincible, including the early post-crisis Superman and the older, more experienced versions. Lobo has always been known for his arrogance, once claiming that he could snap Aquaman's neck for fun. He has even faced actual gods in the supposedly impregnable heavens and remained unmoved. On another occasion, he has simultaneously encountered the most powerful magicians such as Dr. Fate, Zatanna, Ragman, Sargon the Sorcerer, and Enchantress. Amazingly, Lobo emerged from the battle unscathed, as if those terrible spells were just a passing breeze. He does not need to eat, drink, or breathe and can still survive in the harsh vacuum of space. He is even strong enough to overpower the Green Lanterns, who use willpower as a weapon. Lobo also has the ability to clone himself from a single drop of blood, leaving his enemies facing an army of uncontrollable clones. His arsenal is equally bizarre and terrifying. Lobo owns a motorcycle that can travel through time, fly through space, and only respond to him. He hides many deadly weapons on his person, including 2 miniature nuclear bombs in his shoes. He once created a weapon capable of destroying the entire world just for fun. His madness was further demonstrated when he compressed an entire city into a small sphere and swallowed it whole. He has murdered powerful gods, from Poseidon to Buddha, and even killed entities that are said to have the ability to bend and change reality. Lobo once calmly killed Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and skinned the evil wolf, turning all of this into proof of his limitless madness. On a long-forgotten planet where only the ruins of ancient wars remain, Lobo is contracted to hunt down the Juggernaut. The destined location is a deserted city where shattered walls and collapsed buildings stand as evidence of decay. Amidst the ruins, the Juggernaut steps out of the dust, his massive body like a living machine of destruction, each step he takes shaking the ground. His eyes are blazing, carrying the fierce aura of someone who never stops. From afar, the roar of an engine tears through the air. Lobo appears, riding his familiar flying motorcycle, his hair flying in the wind and a haughty smile etched on his face. He puffs smoke from his cigar and throws it onto the cracked ground as a challenge. Without a word, Lobo descends at a speed that tears through the air, the whole city reverberating with the screech of the engine and the sound of metal hitting the air. Juggernaut responded with a punch as heavy as thunder. As the fists collided, the entire area exploded in an earthquake, the shockwaves tearing apart the remaining walls. Buildings collapsed like sand, the ground cracked open in long cracks. Debris, smoke, and a fierce roar mixed together, turning the city into a nightmare of total destruction. Lobo roared in mad excitement, brandishing all the weapons he had hidden. Cold hooks twisted the air, heavy guns screeched like storms of steel, and even miniature atomic bombs flashed violently, all of them raining down on Juggernaut. However, the giant body covered in the power of Cyttorak still stood tall in the sea of fire, unfazed. Juggernaut roared like thunder, his entire body glowing with crimson energy, transforming him into an impenetrable living wall, an unstoppable force. In an instant, Juggernaut's punch sent Lobo flying like a meteor, piercing through several towering mountains. The ground cracked, but from within the rubble, Lobo's raucous laughter rang out. Blood flowed from his torn body, quickly regenerating, pieces of flesh reattached, and from those drops of blood, countless copies of himself rose, forming an army that surrounded Juggernaut. Juggernaut was undeterred. He charged forward, destroying each copy with ease, each step crushing everything in his path. Juggernaut's terrible power revealed an undeniable truth. He was the embodiment of endless destruction. Meanwhile, Lobo, immortal and insane, continued to charge forward in countless desperate attacks. He used all his brutality, all the madness in his blood to hold Juggernaut back, but nothing seemed to be able to stop the heavy, fateful advance of the Cyttorakite. Lobo uses his tactical intelligence to lure Juggernaut into an area with a powerful gravitational field, like the core of a neutron star, to slow him down. However, the power of the Crimson Gem allows Juggernaut to overcome all physical obstacles. Lobo, realizing that he cannot defeat Juggernaut with direct force, attempts the ultimate weapon, a blade forged from anti-magic metal. He slashes at Juggernaut's helmet, weakening the connection to the Crimson Gem. Juggernaut, pushed into a dangerous situation, calls upon the full power of Cyttorak, creating a massive energy blast that destroys the entire planet. Lobo is torn into millions of pieces, but still manages to regenerate. After many days and nights of fighting, Juggernaut is still standing, showing no signs of fatigue thanks to the endless energy of Cyttorak. Lobo regenerates repeatedly, but eventually becomes exhausted from regenerating so many times, his body breaking down and unable to adapt. And the winner? Juggernaut.
I hope you enjoyed this fight. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Follow me if you like. That's it for today's video. Thank you very so much.